Hey y'all! Hello, hello, hello. Hola, hola. Hey y'all, it's your girl Marcia Sharnice, and I am back. Okay, it is 2023. We've made it to 2023. I know I have not been posting much of anything, honestly, but I do believe that I've gotten a charge from God to post every single Saturday in this type of format, as far as just talking about life, being very real, being very raw. You feel me? So that's what I'm gonna be doing. I truly want my 20s to be documented. This is the youngest we'll ever be. That was my motto, one of my mottos for 2022. And even though I didn't use it always in the best way, one thing about it is I want my 20s to be documented. I'm currently 24. I'm turning 25 in April. Shout out to all the Aries out there, period. I'm turning 25 in April, and I want to look back in my 30s, look back in my 40s, look back in my 50s, and just be like, dang, like I really documented my 20s. Like that was great. And then I also want to show my children, show my family. Like it honestly gets me emotional just thinking about it. Today's segment, okay, is about boundaries. It's about betting on yourself, but in the framework of boundaries. So in January, I will be talking about betting on myself in 2023. Today's subtitle is setting boundaries. So there's this YouTuber, you may or may not have heard of him. He's also a model, and I don't even want to call him an aspiring film writer or a script writer, whatever. No, he's doing it. So proud of him. I've been watching him since COVID, I believe, but he's been doing this for a minute now, since he was in college. Tarek Ali. I just want to say shout out to you because there was a video, actually a YouTube video that he posted that really resonated with me.
Before I say this, don't get mad at me, okay? I may end a couple of friendships, but it's not my fault. I'm just waking you up. I'm waking you up, girl. I remember seeing in one of my YouTube videos that a lot of people be friends with people that they don't even like. And people were in the comments like, why would you be in a friendship or hang out with someone that you don't like? And a lot of people don't even realize that they be hanging out with and going out with and inviting people to their house that they don't even like. So here's a little way that you can find out if you actually like a person. Really just sit back and ask yourself, how does this person make me feel? Like really sit back and think about that one person, and when you're with them, how do you feel? Are you more defensive? Do you feel smaller? Do you feel like you have to think about everything before you do it? Do you think about if you have enough money because this person always makes fun of how much you do or don't have? Do you feel unsafe? Like, do you feel like this person is going to assault you or abuse you verbally? A lot of times we hang out with these people because it just has become regular and familiar and it's comfortable. Like, I always hung out with this person. We've been friends for 3 years, or that's my cousin, or that's my mama. But I'm here to let you know that the people that you like, you want to be around them. And the people you don't want to be around, it's because you don't like being around them, because you don't like them, or you don't like the way they talk to you, or whatever it is. I'm not telling you to cut these people off. I'm not saying that they're horrible people. All I'm saying is, if we pay more attention to how people made us feel and not what they gave us, then we would have more healthy connections and relationships in our lives. Set some boundaries, communicate about how you want to be treated, and stand up for yourself, okay? Stop saying yes to things that you want to say no to, okay?
And so if you don't know Tarek Ali, what he typically does is pour up some wine, okay? I was sipping on this last night when I was watching the new episodes of Jeannie and Georgia. I have these. These are bomb. I didn't fart. It's the cheers. To Tarek Ali. I wasn't trying to feel it for real. But as I do my hair, ooh, and that's okay. Cheers! Cheers to self-growth, self-care, self-appreciation, and to 2023. So Tarek Ali, he basically was like, take inventory of your circle. I started doing that in the end of 2022. Y'all, it got to the point where I literally was just like, you don't align with me. I had to straight up tell people like, we cannot be friends. Mind you, some people are people that I've known since I was in 6th grade. People I've known all my life. But then there's also people that I have just met, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I'm just not gonna hit you up. This relationship or this friendship, it doesn't serve me, right? I've had to be the person that they don't know Marcia to be. Everybody knows Marcia to be open, willing, able, bending over backwards into a back full, into a cartwheel, round off, stand off, boom, herky, landing it triple doubles. Y'all, I know nothing about gymnastics, but basically they expect me to give Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas a run for their money. And I'm like, with my emotions, with my feelings, with how I respect myself, everything. Honestly, I'm not gonna hold you, to be very frank, I expected myself to be like that too. The reason why people expect that from me is because I didn't have boundaries for myself. Because if there was a situation, a circumstance where I was doing something that I know I would never, you know, like put somebody else in that situation, I had to suck it up and get over it. If it came to money, if it came to emotions, if it came to just anything, like it was, oh, it's just Marcia. Like she'll be fine. It's Marcia. What? And it was like last year was that time where I realized, and I'm very thankful that God showed me, how people viewed me. How people viewed me. And the truth of the matter is how I viewed myself, honestly. There was this one guy as well that I had met, and he was doing I forget what he was doing. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't be like that, or I wouldn't say that, or I said something, and it was an I statement, right? And I said something along the lines of like, well, that's not what I would have done. And he literally said, he got so serious. And I remember this so vividly. He was like, well, Marcia, not everybody is you. And I don't know why, but that smacked me upside the head. That smacked me upside the head. And I said, I know everybody's not like me. I know everybody's not me or whatever. I know that. He's like, yeah, so people are going to react differently, and people are going to, you know, like, people are not going to react like you. Like, you can't expect people out of you. And mind you, what we were talking about wasn't even that deep, in my opinion. But when he said that, I was very offended, because I was like, wow, he thinks I'm that self-centered. He think I'm that, but like me thinking like that was me being self-centered. But I was like, what? Like, I was like, I know that. I know people are not like that. I always said I admired the diversity of people. But when he said that, it's like it smacked me upside the head. The truth of the matter is, like, I do expect me out of people. I expect myself out of people. I expect that when I don't sit there and don't make people spend unnecessary money, I expect that other people would walk in that same way. When I make sure that I facilitate a space among myself where people can be vulnerable and tell me, you know, like how they feel, and know that I won't be upset and all these things, I'm expecting the same thing. I'm expecting that I could be vulnerable with people and they won't get upset. There was so much, like, in that one little thing that he said that, like, honestly, I'm not gonna say, like, I don't think he meant for it to be that deep, but it was like God had to be like, you about to have a rude awakening, because in this next season that I'm bringing you to, you can't bring everybody like you bringing everybody. You can't talk to everybody like you talking to everybody. You can't hang out with everybody like you hanging out with everybody. But like, that was the awakening. Tarek Ali's video, and then that situation, I'm like, so then I started asking, like, well then God, like, why do I think like that? Why do I think like that? And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things in all of that. One of those things is childhood trauma. I feel like I operate out of performance-based love, and God is helping me with that right now. So I feel like if I'm not this certain person, if I'm not this certain whatever, then no one cares about me. No one loves me. No one sees value in who I am, right? And that's not true. That's not true, but that's how I was operating out of subconsciously, like how I grew up. Like I was the one that was expected to have good grades, the one that was expected to do well in these sports or do well in this classroom or whatever. And if I didn't bring home the A's, then it was, you know, like, what's up? Like, what's going on? Something's off. Something's wrong. The value of who I was, I felt, was in the performance that I did, you know? That's how I navigated me when it came to other people. And so I low-key started putting that on other people. And the main person that I started doing it to, and God showed me this towards the end of 2022, was that I do that with him. Marcia, you do performance-based love with me. Like, I start condemning myself if I don't do these things. If I don't go to church, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, then like, God doesn't really care about me. I'm not valuable to God because I'm not doing these things right now. That was a principle that I feel like I was living off of because that's how I was raised, right? And that's how I internalized the way that I was raised. And I started acting out of that. And so I do it with my friends. But the truth of the matter is everybody is not like me. Everybody isn't like me. And that's okay. What I have to do is start taking inventory. My hair could go into a ponytail. Okay, ponytail. Okay, little ponytail. I want to do the rest of the episode like this. No, I really need to finish my hair. I at least need to put it into a twist. It's giving cashew from Penny Proud movie, the Proud Family movie. I want to get into the vibe or the thought process of why I thought everybody was like me. And not so much because I really thought everybody was like me, but because of this freaking rule that they put into our minds since kindergarten. The freaking golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And as most of us all know, it is biblical. Matthew chapter 7 verse 12 says, "So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets." And I kind of want to give some context as to where it's coming from. So Matthew 7 verse 9 says, which of you, if his son asks for bread, will give him a stone? Verse 10. Or if he asks for a fish, will give him a snake? Verse 11. If you then, though you are evil, know how to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father in heaven give good gifts to those who ask him? So again, verse 12, the golden rule. So in everything, do to others what you would have them do to you. For this sums up the law and the prophets. So it wasn't so much, thank you, Lord. It wasn't so much that I thought that everybody was like me. I just thought that if I extended grace, if I was joyful around you, if I always uplifted you, and they're telling me these things like, Mercy, you always uplift me or whatever. If I do this, if I never ask you to pay for this, this, and this, or whatever, every time you come over my house or whatever, if I open up my space and all these things, I just thought, based on the golden rule, based on Matthew 7:12, that, other people should treat me the same way. That will be given to me. If everybody was morally sound, potentially. It literally says, like, if your child asks for bread and you gonna give them a stone? No, you gonna give them bread. And we're evil, like we have sinful nature. God doesn't. But verse 11 says, so if y'all have a sinful nature and I'm God and I don't have that, and y'all don't even treat y'all's children like that, why would you think I would treat you like that? So the vibe is not so much of treat others the way you want to be treated. It don't say because they will treat you the same way. No, it's treat others the way you would like to be treated because that's how God is going to treat you. God is going to treat you better than that. God is going to do this better than. It's not because somebody else is going to treat you better than that. And that's the distortion from when you in elementary school. All it says is do to others as you would have them do to you. There's question mark on what you would have them do to you. Like, it don't mean it's guaranteed. It means God is going to even be bigger and better than what you're even doing to them. But it doesn't mean that the people are going to be doing that better to you. So I'm over here like, why does everybody treat me like this? Like, why do I feel like this when I'm with this person? Da, 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 da. Because I have this expectation. Well, like, I'm good to you. So why aren't you good to me? Because you make yourself available, because you're caring, because you're empathetic, because you love others and things like this. That just means God's going to give that to you tenfold. And it could truly come in other people. But that's still God giving you those people. That doesn't mean that those people would be exempt. And that's also to say, I know I'm a villain in somebody's story. Everybody is a villain in somebody else's story. So I'm not saying I'm just like out here like nobody got a hit for me. I'm not perfect, right? However, like I had an issue thinking that the golden rule, how they taught us in elementary school, was that other people would treat you how you treat them. That would be great. That would be amazing. But what the Bible is saying is, even though you give this person what they ask for, even though you present yourself in this way and you create an environment and all this thing for this people, yes, do unto others and you have them do unto you. But that doesn't mean that they will do that. But God, y'all are evil, and that's the principle. But me as God, I can't deny myself. So yes, when you are like that and you present yourself as caring, loving, compassionate, gentle, empathetic, I'm going to be even more of that to you. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. Like that's the vibes. You feel me? And that had to click for me. That had to click for me. And so you get to thinking, well, do I really gotta be that nice to everybody? If you're growing, it's not about being nice to everybody. It's just about setting the boundaries and moving accordingly. Because the caveat of it all is there's free will. There is free will. That's the caveat of it all. You could treat somebody nicely all day, but there's free will. If they don't see you as someone that, if they're not even operating out of the same notion as how you are, like, they're just going to treat you how they feel like you should be treated, despite how you've ever treated them. And that's when you set the boundary. If our principles do not align, that means we're unequally yoked. We are not equally yoked. And quite frankly, I don't want anything to do with you. And you honestly have no business wanting to do anything with me. We're not equally yoked. I don't got time to waste. It's very clear based on actions. And I always, people be like, oh, actions speak louder than words. Words speak too, though. You feel? Actions speak louder than words, but words speak too. Words speak too. They have, like, if somebody always bringing you down through their words, what? I don't even want to see nothing. Your words alone is enough for me. You aren't uplifting. You aren't inspiring. You actually talk down to make yourself feel better. How do I feel before I hang out with somebody? How do I feel while I'm hanging out with them? And the most important of it all, how do I feel whenever I leave from hanging out with them? The end of 2022 for me was so heartbreaking because I was realizing that a lot of people aren't here for me. Like, a lot of people aren't. I needed to reestablish my boundaries with a lot of people. And I'm not saying everybody was, oh, we don't align, you out. There was some people that was like that. Like, the mere disrespect is astronomical. Astronomical. So it's like, oh yeah, for what? Hang out for what? Be friends for what? Yeah, that was some people. That was a small amount of people though. Because I wouldn't sit there and say I'm bad at picking friends, It was never a I'm trying to fit in vibe. Never that. However, there is a moment where we understand that where I met you at and where you met me at, that was a season. And the season is changing because change is inevitable. So you're changing, I'm changing. We probably can't walk into this next season, aka 2023, together. And I thank God that there were some people, though it was hard, I had to let go. Maybe just fall back in communication from, or genuinely, hey, yeah, this isn't gonna work. We don't have the same principles. I enjoy everything. You're not a bad person. You and I just don't align, and that's okay. I wish the best for you, nothing but the best for you. And I honestly hope, like, you have a great life. Like, it was very like, no, like, this is just the truth for me. Some people after that conversation, I had to cry. Be like, dang, like, there's a grieving that comes into that. This is not some, boundaries, bro. No, we don't align. We unequally yoked. This is not, and some people you probably do gotta be like that with. But for me, because I care about the people I have in my life, that wasn't always the case, right? Or really never the case. It was very sad. I have on a strapless bra. Nonetheless though, like, it had to be done so that I could walk into this next season knowing that I did what was asked of me. If you're looking for a husband and the guy that you're talking to, whatever, is like clearly not like husband material, or you're not feeling it, y'all have different principles, whatever, it's okay to be like, hey, like, you don't align with my principles, like, you don't align with my boundaries and things like this, so like, this is done, you know what I mean? And that's okay to do, like, and mature people will understand. And 9 times out of 10, like, they should be able to see that y'all don't align either. Like, or that y'all don't, you know, unless they're just like in denial, but like, they should be able to see that as well. I just know that like God's been putting me on that journey with literally having to step away from people, step away from circumstances, and just say, I mean, call it for what it is. What it is choosing you. And that's something I've learned. I feel like everybody has mastered the skill of choosing themselves except me. So that's the journey that I'm on. It's difficult. It's hard. Like, especially when you've been living your life as quote unquote a people pleaser, or living your life making sure everybody is comfortable and everybody's okay at the expense of yourself, at the expense of your comfortability, at the expense of you not being okay. And yeah, there's a growth in that. There's a rewiring of the brain. At least for me, it has been. I've been asked to hang out and da-da-da-da. My immediate response is like, I'm about to be like, yeah, when I know I need to relax this weekend. I know I need to chill out this weekend. I know I just need time to just think and be to myself this weekend. Like, but because I'm so used to not wanting to let people down, I'm so used to not wanting to, you know, like, hurt anybody's feelings, you feel me? Like, I just say, yeah. And again, when it comes down to, and this is something else I've learned, when it comes down to even me operating out of that, I would hope you don't want everybody to be like you, Marcia, because that also would mean that your friends are putting their happiness and their comfortability and everything, like, on the back burner of their lives. And you don't want that for them, just to make you happy, because what you're doing ain't even a good boundary for yourself. And that's something else that I had to learn. Like, Marcia, like, what you're doing ain't even a good boundary for yourself. So I'm reinventing the wheel of what boundaries looks like for me. So I'm gonna give y'all 5 steps, and I have them here, so I'm gonna be reading them. But 5 steps on how to set boundaries, right? And so, one, I just want to say, setting boundaries is truly one of the best forms of self-care. Setting boundaries isn't so much of like keeping you inside of this like entrapment. It really is like keeping things that do not align with you, and how you view your life and how you want to live out your life outside as well. I'm also understanding that when I put boundaries up, you know, you want to make sure that they're healthy. You want to make sure that there's like some doors so that you allow conversations to flow and you're not just entrapping yourself in this bubble, or anything like that. Like, you want to make sure that you can still function with society while also keeping your integrity. Setting boundaries is not just mental, but physical as well. Like, once you learn to take control of like your mental thoughts and things of this sort, which is very difficult to do as humans. I personally cannot do it without God. You start to understand the connection between your mental and your physical health. Identify what is most important to you. You need to identify what your morals are, what are your morals, what are your principles, your ethics, like what is important to you, and be real about that. So for me, what is important to me is compassion, integrity, kindness, loving people that they receive love, not how I just feel like it's most convenient to love them. And I prioritize wanting to be loved the way that I desire to be loved, and not just accepting how someone loves me just because that's what they want to do. Creating intimate moments. I'm not talking sensual, sexual, intimate moments with friends. Having sit down conversations where we truly talk about what our feelings are, what we're going through, especially with other Black women in this day and age. Like that's something that's important to me. That's something that I want to be on the track of. Deepening my relationship with God. And being vulnerable about what that looks like, and not just vulnerable, but truthful. Everyone's relationship with God hasn't been like a little walk in the park. I think no one's relationship with God is a walk in the park if they are wanting to be truthful about it. And so these are things that are at the forefront of my boundaries. So once you've identified your boundaries, communicate them to those around you in a clear and assertive manner. Okay? It's important to be direct so there is no confusion. Like, being direct with your boundaries, that's what I mean. Like, you have to know that you know for sure that that's something that you want. Like, that these are your boundaries. Because at this point, you're going to be communicating who you are, what it is that you desire out of life, and then the people that you want to walk out life with, right? Respecting others' boundaries, once you've already identified it for yourself, communicated it as well, you need to respect the boundaries of others. Encourage your friends and everything to be very communicative and very strict and no confusion on what their boundaries are. So if you do have any confusion, like, ask them to like confirm that with you. Like, what do you mean by like, no Saturday, you can't go out? Like, do you mean clubbing, or do you mean like, can we do a girls' night in? Like, is that something that we can do? Like, like, just ask more questions so that there's no confusion on anyone's part, right? And then that way you know that you're respecting them and you're trying to understand and things like that, right? But respecting people's boundaries is real, because the minute you don't respect their boundaries, that means you don't respect them. Because boundaries are founded on principles. Boundaries are founded on morale. If you are disrespecting people's boundaries, you're disrespecting them because they live by those principles. They live by this morale. It's like very simple. Step number 4, holding yourself accountable. Okay, be sure to hold yourself accountable to your own boundaries. If someone tries to cross them, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself and enforce them. Friends will respect it, and then boom, because you reinforced. And it may take some friends, like, y'all don't get so caught up on the fact that like people are against you. You want to also give people time to adjust to the change, right? Okay, y'all, like, the shrinkage is real. 5, be flexible, okay? Life is constantly changing, and so are our boundaries. As you go through different experiences, be open to reassessing your boundaries and making changes as needed. This is so real and so true. Like, there are some things that you made judgment or you made boundaries for, like that I've made boundaries for, that was strictly from just a bad experience that I had. Okay, and that's how the circle, like there's a cycle of setting boundaries, and it goes like this. Like, once you reassess, readdress those boundaries, readdress like what that means to you, and then communicating them, setting them, and respecting them or reinforcing them. And that's how like this whole thing goes. So this is truly like has been, I would say, an eye-opening experience for me. Many people can't say that they've chosen themselves, especially in their 20s. I see a lot of like TikToks that are like, hey, in my 20s, I wish I knew this. Like, choose yourself. Like, like, and not in a selfish way, but don't compromise who you are for the sake of others, for approval of others. Know who you are, learn who you are, discover who you are, create who you are, and set those boundaries so that others have no choice. But there's always free will, but you get what I mean. The people around you will know that you're in for the game or you out. And that's okay. And we just have to be okay with that person being out. And we also have to embrace those people that are in. And that's what I'm learning. This is what 2023, the end of 2022 and 2023 has been teaching me to set my boundaries, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it's so different than what I've known before. It's the truth. And I've preached this before, but now I'm actually living in it. And there's a different type of peace when you know that you're choosing you. There's a different type of understanding when you know that you out here like really choosing you. You really out here choosing you and willing to put yourself first before your friendships, before your relationships, before your emotions. Because when I get to this place where I am full of self-love and everything that everyone is getting is not because I'm scooping into my container and giving it to them, but they could simply just hold their cup right under mine and just get what's overflowing, that's the goal. That's the goal for me. I don't want to have to scoop into my jug no, I want it to just be overflowing, just given freely. Because that's the grace and the mercy and everything that God has given me. And I just want to love others freely. And it doesn't matter if it looks different right now. It's supposed to. So I'm going to finish this last section and then I'm going to come back for the outro. Okay, you guys, so I just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your girl, Marcia Charnice. Today, we talked about betting on ourselves, and this is part 1 of this 4-week series. And, well, today's topic was setting the boundaries for yourself. And so I hope you all was able to learn so much from this episode. I know I have been learning a lot from this video. Again, this is all happening in real time for me. There was airplanes flying by all day. I lost a pinky nail, but it's right here. I'm just gonna glue her back on, period. Shout out to the press-on game. If y'all wanna see how this twist out turns out, definitely go onto my TikTok at Marcia Charnice. Go to my TikTok. I'm gonna have some videos loaded up tonight whenever I'm done and all dressed up for my little date with my girl. So yeah, y'all, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I will see y'all next Saturday. We will also be talking about betting on ourselves for this 2023 season, but it's gonna get a little bit more juicy, okay? So y'all, I can't wait to see y'all on this day, and thank y'all again for tuning in. If you don't mind, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the notification bell so that you are notified every single time I post. Thank y'all so much. And again, thank you so much, Tarek Ali, for your youthful yet wise advice. You've been making my life very easier by simply being transparent, being vulnerable, and allowing me to see what it looks like for a 20-something-year-old to just walk in their truth, to set their boundaries, and to live life transparently. You are an inspiration, so I want to give you your flowers. And y'all, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I will see y'all next Saturday. We are up. 2023 is ours because why? We're betting on ourselves. I'll see y'all next time. Cheers.